Hello everyone and welcome to the next instalment of my latest project, which is Hobby Boss's Panzer 1 Ausf in 1/35th scale in the Spanish Civil War colours. As you can see from these couple of shots, I've now completed the engine, and in this video I'll show you ways to be able to create this similar look as well, along with a few other interesting items. So if that's something you'd like to do, then feel free to pull up a chair and let's go do some modelling. So first off, we're going to start with a modeller's tip. Rather than waste all your pigments, we can create some earth effects straight from the gecko. So what we're going to be using here is Mr. Surfacer 1500, and we're going to, very similar to how you would do with creating armor effects, we're now going to be using on the underside of the fenders, as well as the main body itself. And we're going to create a speckled effect, which once painted up in dry brush will look like dried mud in these particular areas. So once you've managed to cover the area, you need to go back over it and create stippling effect. As you can see here, I'm using a kick down brush, which allows you to create this effect. And that's the look that you're after. Then once fully dry, what you need to do is just to make sure that you're happy with the look, and then get yourself a sanding stick and take off all of the rough edges. And then that will create that patination, as I say, will look good once painted up, which we'll look at in another video. And there we have both the underside and the fenders done as well. Once that was done, I added on the hull, left that overnight clamped in. Then I turned my attention to the rear exhausts, not the best of quality. As you can see, bad seam lines once put together and a few holes as well. So I loaded it all with glue, put a little bit of filler in there, and then once it was all dry, I scraped it all right back. And as you can see here with the actual exhaust part itself, I've scraped out a little hole just to add that bit of interest. Now the engine is beautifully detailed and it comes with a few parts which go together very well indeed, as long as you're careful and follow the instructions. You've also got the exhaust guards, the radiator and the fuel pan holders as well. So once it had been dried overnight, I took the clamps off, made sure that there was no holes and that the join was a good one, and I was really pleased with how that went together. And quite frankly, this whole kit goes together beautifully. So we're going to start working on the main engine deck there. We'll also have the part that goes on top, because you're going to see a little bit of that as well, because both the rear hatches will be open to the engine area. And here's the engine itself. Decided to put it all together and paint it as such. And I was quite happy I was able to get my paintbrush into all the areas. And that will just fit in there nicely, along with the fuel cans. And that's how it's going to look. Now, as you can see, that the joins weren't fantastic in the bottom of the engine area, but it's not a major issue, because once the engine's in, you're really not going to see much of it at all. So first off, I used Mr. Surfacer Mahogany as the primer, and then I mixed a bit of Vallejo Whole Red with a bit of Vallejo Red to give a red oxide colour, and then that was applied as well. Now what I'm going to do now is just add a little bit of pigment work using Vallejo Black and Earth colours. As you can see there, the area's been painted in the whole colour, red oxide, and now I'm just going to add in some of the pigments. And really what I'm after is trying to build up layers. Now you can have a bit of fun with this, because as I've said before, you ain't going to see any of this once it's done, because all of the engine will cover it up. And then once done, just add a few drops of pigment fixer. Don't saturate the area, and just allow it to seep around. And then what you need to do is just to leave that to dry overnight, and then that will be ready for further work. And again, if you want to add a few more pigments afterwards, then you can do so as well. And there we have it completed, ready to be dried. So like I said, left that for 24 hours and that was the end result. Really pleased with how that looked. Managed to get a few streaking effects down the sides as well. And I also did the fuel cans. Again, very little of this is going to be seen, so it's more sort of practice and also gives you an insight to how I do my work. A little bit on the exhaust covers as well. And finally, the exhaust guards themselves. Now, at the same time, I painted up the engine. The main colours here were Vallejo Grey Green, which was the main engine colour. I used a few Vallejo metallics, aluminium and exhaust manifold, and burnt iron. A bit of that red primer mix that I did, and then just rust effects. So once that was all done, everything was covered in matte varnish in preparation for all of the oil work. Now, if you watch my videos, you know that I do OPR, which is oil paint rendering. I won't go through it all again now, but feel free to just put in Steve Jones Scale Modeling site, OPR, and lots of my videos will come up with the process. Um, if failing that, you can just hang on a couple more videos, and then when I do the main tank itself, then I'll go through the process again. Basically, what you want to do, you want to start light using speckling effects, light dust colors, and then work up to dark browns and dirt colors, again with speckling effects, and then have a bit of fun. And as you can see, eventually you'll come out with something like this, which gives you that lovely burnt sort of engine area, greasy feel, a few little wet effects there used as well. So really pleased with how that came out. It's such a shame that it's all going to be covered up. But at least we get to see it now. Similar to the engine itself, all the same sort of processes. And again, really pleased with how that came out. The exhaust guards, didn't have to do a great deal of work here. The fuel cans, again, I was really pleased with the look on this. It's a shame these are going to be covered up, but yeah, it just gives you an insight to the looks that you can achieve using these processes and the exhaust covers as well. So here are a few stills, give you an idea of some of the detail and effects that you can create using oil paint rendering. So with all of that done, obviously you know it has to be glued into place. Now it's obviously easier if you have plastic to plastic. So if you use your Tamiya extra thin, you can actually remove paint quite easily with it. So just go along the edges of where things are going to be glued into place, take off the paint that you've put down, and then that will give you a better bond, as you can see here in this steel. Don't make the mistake that I did. You need to put the engine in first, so the engine was put in, and then the fuel cans were added on afterwards. And there we have those all in place now. And then again, that just finally left the radiator. Didn't do a great deal of work on that because you're just not going to see it. And now we have the lid on top, and that's all disappeared now. But we know it's in there. That's all it is. So I'll just have a quick video around it so you can sort of give you an idea of what you do actually see. You still get a good idea of those effects. And all in all, it was a nice exercise to do, and I did enjoy doing it. Again, when the turret's on, you won't see any of that either, I'm afraid. Now, the actual hose on the front of the tank was in disrepair, as you can see here. It wasn't the best of molds. Also, if you were to take it off, you'd have all the sprues, etc. So you can make your own. So what you need to do is get your watchmakers or your jewels screw head makers, and basically get yourself. I think in this case it was 1.8 styrene rod, and then just twist it through the hole, and that actually creates that screw effect. Nice simple way of creating the corrugated pipe look that you need. Once you had the length that you needed, it was just a matter of adding a little bit of a bend at the end. This is the part that actually goes into the front part of the tank. And then once you're happy with the angle that you've achieved, then it's just a matter of cutting that off. And then I put it up against the actual kit part itself, and I was really pleased with the look. And what I actually then did was just the new piece into sections and added the joins and the end pieces from the kit part, as you can see here in this photo. So I was really pleased with how that turned out. And there we have it, guys. Many thanks once again for popping in and having a look at the video. Many thanks to all of my subscribers, old and new. I really do appreciate your comments and your continued support of my work. And in the meantime, everyone, be modelling.